All right, so it looks like we're good. All right, welcome everybody. Lakeisha McKnight is here. And I want to welcome you to Leadership TKO, the night show via podcast in conjunction with Leadership TKO Global Reality Show. So again, welcome to each and every one of you. Now I know, depending on if you're listening via the podcast, there are so many of you that are listening in on demand. And so I just want to acknowledge you as you are listening in and coming back to grab a hold of the great information that's going to be shared in just a couple of moments. Just to let you know, it is Thursday, indeed. It is 9:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just in case you're wondering when we did this and you're coming back to listen to the recording. But thank you so much. And what we're doing today is we're converging a couple of things together. Not only are we going to share with you our new format, what's actually taking place on Thursdays, but we also have a special interview that's going to take place in just a couple of minutes. But what I want to share with you is that with Leadership TKO, that is the brand that's housed under the iLead company, where iLead stands for the International Leadership Education and Development Company. Now, Leadership TKO is the brand, indeed, but we do also have subdivisions. But even with the subdivisions, we have one mission. And the mission is to partner up with associations, small businesses, universities, and faith-based organizations to build winning leaders. That's what we intend to do, a part of this brand. And so we welcome you. And if you definitely want to learn more about this brand and the iLead company, I encourage you to visit a website, which is www.leadershiptko.com. So let's get into the business at hand, shall we? Now, with the new flow of how we have everything going, we're going to be talking about something amazing on Thursdays. And that is for those of you who aspire to become speakers, or if you are a speaker already, you have some experience. And even if you are fairly experienced, you consider yourself to be a professional. We have some nuggets that we're going to provide for you at the beginning of this episode. And then we're going to dive into a special interview. Now, this interview also goes hand in hand with one of our other subdivisions, and that's Leadership TKO for Women. Now, the wonderful thing about Leadership TKO for Women is that it's fueled by a campaign, and the name of that campaign is the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign. And this campaign was launched by 6 women, and one of the launchers is going to be interviewed during this episode on today. So what we're going to do before we dive into this interview, I'm going to share with you some grand nuggets, but we know that we can't keep this all to ourselves. We definitely can't do that. Right now, what I'm going to challenge you to do is I want you to grab a hold of the URL or at least the phone number. Okay, for those of you who are watching the video. And if you're on the podcast, you can also share on your social media platform. You can grab the link and actually text it to people that you know and just let them know that we're here and we're live. So what I am going to do, I'm going to actually spell it out for those of you who may be on the phone and you're listening in. I'm also copying and pasting it in the little chat area on the platform where we're doing our video interview on today. And so let me go ahead and give it to those of you who are on the phones, or if you're on the podcast and you want to really share this with others that you know. So the URL, if you want to watch the video right now anyway, it's anymeeting.com, anymeeting.com / now I'm going to give you a couple of numbers so you want to listen carefully. 608 635 828. And so I'm going to repeat that one more time for you. Any meeting, ANYMEETING.com / 608 635 828. That is the URL if you want to watch right at this time the video interview. But if you're on the phone, I want to give you that number as well, the main number and the PIN number that you need to use to dial in. And you can also share this on your timeline. If you're on Facebook, you can share it on other social media platforms so that we can get other individuals involved. And if you're a part of the campaign, go ahead and share it in the campaign. Encourage other members who are a part of it to join in tonight. So the phone number is 706 913-1155. And the PIN number, 624-8907 #. Okay, so make sure you include the # in that. So it looks like we're good at this particular time. Go ahead and share, right? Go ahead and share at this time. What I am going to do, I'm also going to practice what I preach, right? And I am going to share. And I believe I might have done this before, but I'm going to share anyway. And I'm going to tell people to join in on the special, of course I'm saying it as I'm typing, special interview with, and of course I'm not going to say it yet, I'm keeping it a secret. Right? And so click on this link now. Here we go. All right, so I'm doing that. I just posted it in there, and whoever joins in is good. But what's going to happen is after we finish this live interview, we'll probably take it down. But for those who do want to listen in or they want to watch, they're able to do so at this particular moment. So what we're going to dive into even right now is I want to share with you a couple of things for those of you who are aspiring speakers. Now, the wonderful thing about Leadership TKO for speakers is that, we offer services and we offer help for those of you who are at different levels of your learning. So if you're just getting started, you're trying to figure out how do I start to become a speaker, or you're trying to figure out how do I get on more stages for those of you who are speaking already. There are a couple of things that you need to have in your toolbox. Every speaker needs to have a toolbox, but there are certain things that you need to have in there. And as I've been posting throughout the day on Facebook, I was just sharing that one of the major tools that you need to have is your video. So here's my question to you, or for you. Do you have a video? And does that video capture your most engaging moments with the audience? You see, one of the most important things that your video needs to do is show that you can connect and engage your target audience. So if your audience is youth, if it's women, if it's married couples, you have to place your video in position that it shows clips of you speaking and connecting and engaging with them. Is it arousing emotion from them or some type of emotional response? You want to make sure that you're sharing a clip that either touches on a specific emotion, such as maybe shock or maybe surprised, or even if it's a serious type of emotion, or perhaps humor, because humor is always good. But you want to make sure you demonstrate that inside of your video. Okay? I've had some people ask, well, Lakeisha, how long should the video be? And I do recommend that your video is no longer than about 3, maybe 4 minutes long. You see, you want to make sure you capture those most important moments when you're on stage, but you want to make sure you keep their attention and that the video is not extremely long. Here's my other nugget for you before we dive into the interview, and that is, remember, you are trying to get the attention of your client, and your client, as a speaker, is the hiring manager, the person that's making the decisions whether to bring you on board for their event. So most times we confuse this often by thinking we have to tailor all of our marketing material to those whom follow us on social media. And it doesn't work that way. You have to make sure you get in contact and you find out what is it that the client or the hiring manager or the HR director or perhaps the event coordinator or the student of deans, who is making the decision. Find out what is needed. We can't put information out there that we assume is needed, but we have to find out what truly is the need. So I know I can go on forever. I can go on forever with this information, but I want to make sure that we bring on our guests who is, of course, one of the launchers for the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign. And, of course, I'm going to add, she is a JMTer. Now, if you don't know what JMT is, it is the John Maxwell team. Now, there are like over, probably 12,000, 13,000 JMTers out there floating in the United States and abroad. But this guest is one of them, and it's none other than Cheryl Harris Sutton. So Cheryl, welcome to the platform. How you doing?
Oh, hello, Lakeisha. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm just happy to have you on the platform because this is one of the first times that we're actually having one of the launchers of the campaign. We've had like so many other people, but you are the first one of the launchers to be on the platform.
Such an honor. I am really pleased to be a part.
Awesome. So to start this, Cheryl, because I'm quite sure that there may be some people who are watching right now who have questions, and we're going to definitely get to that. And if you're watching this or you're listening, remember, you can always, for those of you on the podcast, you can always post your questions in the chat area. There is a chat area if you're on the podcast platform, which is Spreaker. Now, if you have the app, you should be able to do that as well. We do have a Leadership TKO app. You should be able to post in the chat area or the comments area. If you're watching via video, there's a chat area as well. So make sure you post your questions and we'll gradually get to those questions if you so should have some. Okay, so save your questions. We're going to get to them in just a moment. So Cheryl, what is it that really motivated you to even partner with the iLead company and launch such a campaign as this?
I think really what motivated me was the fact that the campaign was targeting women. And so in my professional life, in my social life, I've run across so many women that were commenting that they wanted more in their life, that they really didn't have clarity regarding their purpose. And so when I found out about this particular campaign idea, it just felt like the right thing to do to help women, to engage with them, to help them to connect with who they are and helping them to connect with their purpose.
You said something really interesting. You said connect them with who they are. But Cheryl, aren't they right now who they are, or is something happening in the inside that they quite don't understand yet? What's going on with that concept there to find out who they are?
Yeah. So, as you know, because we're women, we are involved in so many things. We have multiple roles. We're wives, we're mothers, we're aunts, we're sisters. We're professional career women. We're business owners. So we have so many different roles. And what I found is that while we are very successful in those roles, oftentimes we find ourselves overwhelmed or even buried.
What just happened? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What just happened? Hello. Hold on, we've had an interruption. Wait a minute. I think I'm gone. Cheryl is there. What just happened? That's every time. What is going on? Hold on, everyone. We have a little bit of an interruption. Okay. We're still here, everyone. We're reconnecting. Reconnecting with the meeting.
Your line is now muted. Unmuted.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
That was the most craziest thing that just happened. All I saw was a black screen. I'm just looking at the screen like, what? Okay.
I keep thinking, okay, should I continue talking?
Yes, whatever. Here's a disclaimer. If anything like that happens, I think Janine is actually watching as well. She knows to just go ahead and just ad lib. So if it happens again, God, please don't let it happen again. Just go ahead and ad lib. But I don't know what you were saying. I know it was good, but You said something about roles.
Yeah. So I was really just talking about the fact that, as women, we have multiple roles. And oftentimes those roles cause us to get overwhelmed, to have the daily activities of life basically bury us. And we find ourselves surviving life rather than living life. And as a part of that, we kind of lose that connection with what our purpose is, what our passion is. And so we don't really oftentimes pursue who we really are. We don't fully blossom into who we really are. We're much more than just women. We're much more than just the various titles that we hold.
Right.
But again, we do have purpose, we do have passion. And so oftentimes we're not pursuing that because we're again just overwhelmed with all of the various roles that we play in our lives.
Wow. Overwhelm. Now I know as a leader, Cheryl, we all face overwhelm, and then we also deal with it in a very unique way. Let's just be a little transparent for a moment. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. It hopefully it's not like now, but what is it? You don't have to go into detail, but what is the situation at hand? Lightly describe it. And then how have you managed to overcome that time or that moment of overwhelm?
Sure. And I have to say that time was today. And really just,
okay.
Like I said, I am a professional career person. And so I do have a job that is very demanding, a job that requires me on a daily basis and frankly all day to deal with issues, problems, challenges, trying to get those resolved. Often they can lead to this feeling of being overwhelmed. So just trying to function within that role, as well as also trying to expand my business as an entrepreneur. I am a new wife, so also trying to give time and balance to that role. So sometimes trying to move all of these various components of my life and moving them in a way that keeps me balanced can be a little bit challenging and overwhelming. And so what I've done to help keep me balanced is to fully recognize and understand and come to agreement with myself in terms of what's my, and I've really looked to the Word of God to provide that direction for me. And so I really try to follow God first, family second, and career third.
Right.
And sometimes I will, on days when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I may feel that that order is not the order in that manner. And so I sometimes stop, reflect, remember my priorities, and then take the appropriate actions to put that balance back in order.
That's good. That's really good. And you mentioned something that's critical, is that realizing that, things are out of order and then trying to just kind of step back and bring things back into proper perspective and proper order. So it's important to be able to do that. And I just reflect on, even with myself, just taking that break so much. I know I couldn't do it 100%, but just taking that break away from being so intertwined, so fully engaged in social media, so that I can get a proper perspective of how things are just flowing in general. And,
Exactly.
it's a time of awakening. And I believe that all women should do that. Whatever it is that you're fully engaged with, majority of your week or even days, sometimes it's good to kind of retreat and take a little bit of a break, so that you can see where things are, how things are moving. And if changes need to manifest, or if you need to make some adjustments, you'll be able to do that, because we can lose sight of where we are. And I think that that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. I found for myself, I really have to pay attention to my mood, my attitude, my level of creativity, my level of energy, how well I'm interacting with those that are around me, especially those that are closest to me. So if I find disconnecting in any of those areas, I usually recognize, that it's time for me to stop, reflect, figure out where I am, and figure out what I need to put myself back on track.
That's good. That's good. Now, we have this campaign going on, and one of the things, of course, that we're trying to do is just make sure that we inform people of why it is that we do what we do and why, of course, they should be involved. But then also, there are some other things that I'm quite sure those who are listening and watching will love to know about you. But first and foremost, Cheryl, what is, your thoughts about leadership? What is leadership to you?
I think leadership is offering hope and change. Leaders have a vision. Leaders navigate the way, they know the way, they see the bigger picture. And oftentimes, as I've been saying, we get so focused on what's happening right now, what's happening in our lives, and we sometimes don't look up, see the bigger picture. And so leaders help people to have hope. They help people to grow, expand. So that's really my definition of leadership. They help to lift people up from the place where they are to a place where they aspire to be.
Wow, that's good. That's awesome. Now, I know that you also have, you said you're an entrepreneur, because in addition to helping to launch this campaign and push it forward, I can imagine that, you as a JMTer or a John Maxwell team member, you definitely have some other projects and other things that you're working on. So what is your goal? What is it that you're seeking to do within the next year or two to continue to build leaders?
Actually, two things. So one thing is to build my business, which is Harris Sutton Enterprises, Inc. So building that as a personal and professional development service, offering opportunities to coach, train, and mentor professionals, small business owners, as well as entrepreneurs. And then I also have a heart for like I said, women in particular, those that are 50 and above, that find themselves in a situation where they may be empty nesters, they may be in retirement. And the message that I've heard from them is that at that point in their life, they're unclear as to what do I do now? And so I, at some point, would like to have a nonprofit organization that is geared towards programs specifically to help retrain, help those women to reimagine their lives, repurpose their lives, and also would like to do with youth. Awesome. Wow. That is good. You said something about youth, and then of course you said women who are empty nesters, those who are 50 and up. And I definitely believe in that because, depending on where they are in life, they're making the transition. And with some women, they really don't know, which way to go. And then with, of course, Social Security and everything else not being as dependable as it once was before, it's kind of like, what do I do now? I have to definitely continue to live. So what's next? And so they're going to need that direction. And that's where your organization can step in and provide direction and provide guidance for them. And so that is going to be, and I know it's probably useful, it's needed right now. But I know once, you have those things straightened out and how everything is to be structured, I know it's going to impact a lot of women around the world. Definitely so. And speaking about that, the transition, I know that there are women who are watching and listening to this, more so listening, who are at that stage. And they're trying to figure out, man, what do I do next? I need some type of next step. What should I do? How would you speak to those women right now, Cheryl? What is it that they need to do right now, the first thing, to kind of get them moving in the right direction? I would say take some time and reflect. Take some time and think about those things that brought joy to you when you were in your younger years. This frankly has been my challenge. I'm greater than 50. And so although I've had, a wonderful career, I still have a wonderful career. I found myself at a place where I was, wondering, what is it that I want to do with the rest of my life? And have I lived my life in a way that really leaves the legacy that I'd like to leave? And I found myself answering those questions, and my answer came back no, that I was living a life that allowed me to survive my life, pay my bills, do many of the things I desired to do, but it really wasn't leaving the type of legacy that I wanted to leave. And so I had to think about it. I couldn't off the top of my head say what it was that I felt I wanted to do. I couldn't say what it was that I thought my purpose was. And I knew that at one point in my life. So I really just took some time. It took several months, frankly, to just sit and to think. And I went back and did a survey of my life. What did I do when I was younger? Did I enjoy it? Did it impact people in a positive manner? I went back and took a look at pictures and videos and different things that I had written throughout the course of my life to see what I had said and what I had visioned and where I was in relation to those things that I wrote. And I basically just had to redefine, rediscover, reimagine, reawaken my purpose. And so that's the place that I would say is a great starting point for anyone that's seeking to rediscover who they are so that they can make that transition from just survival to living.
This is good. Awesome. Now, in addition to, being a part of this campaign, being an entrepreneur and offering those services for women, one of the things that I know some people want to know as well, which ties in greatly to what we started with regards to speaking. As a JMTer, I know that you're a certified, speaker as well. So share with us a little bit about that, Cheryl. What is what is it that you've accomplished thus far, and where do you hope to take your speaking career also?
Sure. So it's surprising to me what I found since my time joining the John Maxwell team. I've actually found that most of my speaking has been in front of youth. So in fact, I just completed a speaking engagement this past Friday. So that's been a little surprising for me because, in all honesty, that was not the direction that I thought I was going. But an opportunity presented itself, and that opportunity seems to continue presenting itself. Aside from that, I've been involved in workshops that really have been geared to entrepreneurs and women. So those are pretty the directions at this point that I would say my speaking career is gone.
Wow. Now, for that person that's just getting started, Cheryl, and I know that there are probably, I don't know how many listeners and watchers right now, they're trying to figure out, man, what is my first step? Trying to figure that out. What is it that you can say to them to kind of guide them and say, okay, this is what you need to do? Even reflecting upon what you did, they may not join the John Maxwell team, but what is it that you can encourage them to do to kind of get started?
Get started. I would have to say, get started. Get an accountability partner. One of the things about being in this campaign, because frankly, I really didn't know exactly where to start, but I knew I needed to take some action. And, I have a former pastor. One of the things he used to say to us is, it's easier to turn a car that's moving than to turn a car that's sitting still. And so that always replays itself for me. And so the best thing that I did was just to get started. And so by joining the campaign, it allowed me an opportunity to start, as well as by connecting myself with the other 5 women in the campaign. It also provided accountability partners for me. Good. So accountability are important because they will help you to get beyond some of your fears, some of the getting outside of your comfort zone, so that you can begin to explore. And they'll support you and let you know that as you take this journey, you may not do everything in the manner in which you desire, but it's a learning process. Yes. So get out there and learn it.
That's good. That's good. Just get out there and get started. That is the one thing to do. And I just want to throw in just another nugget right now for those of you who are aspiring and trying to figure out, man, how do I get started? The simple fact of the matter is you really need to understand who do you want to speak to? Cheryl says she found herself, speaking before youth because that's who requested and wanted her service, and definitely speaking before women. So think about it for yourself. If you're watching and listening to this, what is it that you need to do? Okay, what is it that you need to do? We have, of course, some interrupting music, but what is it that you need to do so that you can make sure that you go ahead and get started? Think about that for yourself because that is indeed critical. Now, I thought about that for myself. I sat back And I was trying to figure some things out. I was like, okay, who is it that I want to speak to or that I speak to the most? Now, I did when on my formal days, as far as getting started, I found myself speaking to youth first. And then it gradually transitioned. So you really need to pinpoint that. Find out who is it that who really wants your service, because you're going to see this. God will definitely show you who is it that you need to be empowering or at least encouraging in this season of your career. And then see what you can do to begin to build up that experience. Make sure that in all situations, in all scenarios, you record everything. Record everything. I don't care if it's just you speaking to 5 people. Record it. And it's so funny. It's so funny, Cheryl. Even when we went down to Orlando, we were part of the John Maxwell team, the certification event. Right. And we have that moment where we spoke to people who are connected to us at our tables. And I even said, listen, record this. Because this, I said, this is a way in which I can go back and I can reflect upon this experience and learn what is it that I did that needs to be improved and so much more. So don't take every small experience for granted. Look for ways to get in front of your target market or your desired audience and record everything. It's going to help you to create that video, right? That video I was telling you about. And so you will gradually build upon the video as well. So that's just a couple of nuggets I wanted to throw in right there, right in the middle. We're approaching the end, but right there to help guide and direct you. All right. And if you do have questions, once again, just make sure that you post your questions and we'll definitely get to them. Now, Cheryl, we have something amazing that's going to be taking place on the 28th of August. And this also shares a little bit of another side of Cheryl Harris Sutton. And I want you just to share just a little bit more about that for those who are listening and watching tonight.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes, I have to start off that way. So the week of August 28th, the book that is co-authored by the 6 campaign leaders will be launched. Mm-hmm. So the TKO Leadership for Women, oh my goodness, that book I believe, is going to bless women all over the world. Because we have really, the co-authors in that book, I believe everyone really poured out their heart.
Yeah.
They were very transparent, very authentic.
Yes.
And we did that because we want to be a blessing to other women. And we know that by sharing our successes, our challenges, our failures, all of the learning opportunities that we've had, that it not only helps us to move on from the things that we experience, but it will help others to also grow and learn and again become who they are.
Yes. Perfecto. And it's going to be a grand book. And we're launching it, myself, Cheryl, we also have Shalia McDaniel, Takara Still, Dr. Remy Douye, and then Maricela Messner. All of us are co-authors of the book, and it is going to be available on Amazon. And so we can't wait. We are totally excited. We're going to reboot. We're going to reboot actually the countdown. I know the countdown, we started it and then we kind of phased out a little bit, but we're actually going to kick that thing back into gear. We're probably going to start that on tomorrow. I'm going to definitely let my team know, hey, we need some more of that good stuff that you have, some of those graphics. So So I'll talk with them, and that way you all will be able to remain connected and figure out what we have going on. So here's the deal. If you want to follow this campaign, you want to get connected to this campaign, you want to learn more about what we have with this campaign, because it's not just the book. It's also, right, this global reality show that happens on Thursdays at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we also have our events. Now, if you missed our first convention, you missed it. And we want you to be in position for the next one. What were you going to say, Cheryl?
I was just saying it was an awesome event.
Yes, yes. And so we want you to remain connected, because we have so many other great events that's coming up. We have events that's going to be happening in Illinois, in other places, but I do want to let you know that we have our next event coming up. It's somewhat of a boot camp that's taking place on September 23rd, where you can come out and you can greet some of the campaign members and, of course, some of the campaign leaders. So definitely come out. We'll post some information. For those of you on the podcast, it will be in the description area. Now, if you're watching via the video, we want you to make sure that you're a member of the campaign so that in the campaign group, you will get access to that information. And so here is what I would love for you to do. Just a little bit of some direction on how to join the campaign. First of all, Cheryl, does it cost money to join the campaign?
Absolutely not. The campaign is free.
Awesome. It's absolutely free. It's free, everybody. And it's a very simple process. Just make sure that you're on a desktop or a laptop when you access this website. And I'm going to do that right now. So here's the deal. You want to make sure you go to www.borntolead2017.com. And I am going to spell it for those of you who are listening in. It's BORNTOLEAD2017.com. And when you go to that website, you're going to see a questionnaire. Complete the questionnaire. It takes less than 2 minutes to do. Hit the submit button, and it's going to take you over to the Facebook group where all of the campaign members are connected. Hit the request to join the group button, and we will let you in the group. And you will be an official member at that particular time. So I know you're probably thinking, well, why should I join this campaign? What is in it for me? Cheryl, I would love for you to share, why is it that they should join the campaign? What's in it for them?
Support. I would say the biggest thing is support.
Yes.
I will never expand my business if I'm thinking I'm going to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
We require of each other. And so this campaign provides that support. And that support comes by way of information. It comes by way of teaching through various nuggets, through coaching, through mentoring. And all of those are essential to grow our business. If we expect to grow our business, we ourselves must continue to grow. Yes. And so we help all the women in this campaign to do that by supporting one another.
That's good. Yeah, and so that's what the deal is. When, before coming on board with this campaign, your circle of influence or your network might have been really, really small. But as a result, right, of joining and coming on board this campaign, it will be huge. You're probably going to 3 times or maybe quadruple your support network. So we want you to be on board because that is actually one of the biggest benefits of getting on board this campaign. Now, the second, you're definitely going to see some differences in you. One of the ways, just like Cheryl said, of if you're an entrepreneur, to grow your business, you really have to enhance your leadership ability. That's a proven fact. The more that we, like myself and Cheryl, we invested in ourselves, our personal development, the more we begin to see how doors begin to open for us. And we're able to grow our businesses by leaps and bounds because we took initiative and we invested it in training. And that's what you're going to get when you come on board the Born to Lead campaign. We have business and even leadership training for you. Now, we do this on a month-to-month basis. And the last point that I want to make about what's in it for you is that we also have life skills mentorship on Mondays at 8:00 p.m. Those situations in life where you're trying to figure out, how do I organize myself? How do I become more productive? How do I handle difficult people, right? These are some of the things that we deal with and that we kind of, really develop solutions around and we help you with inside of mentorship. So definitely get on board today. BornToLead2017.com. Now, here's my last golden nugget for you. And then I'm going to allow Cheryl to definitely provide you with some encouraging words before we begin to wrap up. Now, for those of you who are speakers, we've been talking about speaking all day. If you've been following me on Facebook, that's what the focus has been, helping you to grow as a speaker. That's what we dedicate our Thursdays to. But above all things, I want you to remember this. that before you are a speaker, you are first a marketer. If you don't get anything else tonight, understand, and I see my connection is kind of going in and out a little bit. Hopefully we're good. But understand that you are first a marketer. So in order for people to understand who you are, what you do, what your brand is, you must understand and accept it in your mind that you market and that you sell who you are, your brand. And you must begin to work on doing this and receive training. Accept it. The moment you accept this role is the moment that you begin to take action and find out how you can enhance yourself in that area. And you will begin to see a shift take place as you're seeking to grow as a speaker. You will notice it. Because the moment I did that for myself, that is the moment I went from this local city girl, New Jersey, by the way, to actually speaking in other countries. I mean, it wasn't overnight, but it seemed like it happened overnight. So understand, first a marketer or a saleswoman, then a speaker. All right. So Cheryl, I'm going to turn it over to you. I want you to provide those who are watching and those who are listening with some encouraging words as they're seeking to grow as leaders and as speakers. What are some words of encouragement that you would like to provide tonight?
Okay. First thing I would say is believe in yourself. And believing in yourself is more than just saying, I believe in myself. But belief in yourself is absolutely and directly linked to the actions that you take. So look around yourself and look at the things that you're doing and see if you truly believe in yourself. If you do believe in yourself, that leads to you investing in yourself so that you can grow yourself. And then once you do that, also invest in serving others.
Yes.
If you believe in yourself, invest in yourself, grow yourself, and serve others, you will move towards succession, move towards being successful in any area that you choose to proceed in your life.
That's good. That is good. Wow. We talked about quite a bit tonight, Cheryl. Now, if we were to actually kind of transcribe this, we probably would come up with a quick little ebook. but I'm quite sure there's some people who may be listening on the podcast or they might be watching right now that says, you know what, I need to connect with that Cheryl. It's something about that Cheryl Harris Sutton that I need to learn more about. How would they be able to get in contact with you and connect with you? Just share with us a little bit of contact information.
Sure. I can be located at www.CherylHarrisSutton.com.
Yes. Perfecto. And you know what? Keeping it simple and sweet like that is always perfect because you give people too many options as far as a call to action and they become confused. So what is that website once again, Cheryl?
It is CherylHarrisSutton.com. I kept that simple too.
Awesome. Listen, everybody, if you're listening in or you're watching, understand I am going to post the website right there in the description area of the podcast. So you'll be able to just go to the description area and just click on it. And then you'll be able to learn more about Cheryl. So again, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching and everybody that's listening. Understand, we have a new flow going. We have a new flow. So it means starting tomorrow, right? Friday is actually Fitness Friday, but it's also Fun Day on the podcast. So we're going to do something fun. So you want to make sure you tune in tomorrow at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fun Day for leaders. You know, we have to incorporate that. We still have to have fun, even though we lead, and actually have businesses that we run. We still have to have fun. Okay? So remember, join the campaign, get on board with that, borntolead2017.com, and definitely come back here tomorrow with the podcast as we are going to continue to help you to become a winning leader. But until then, I'm going to encourage you to think, to speak, and to live leadership. Thank you so much, everyone. Say goodbye, Cheryl.
Bye. Thanks. Thank you.